invest in real estate, the only way they think is, hey, I gotta go myself, go buy a property, be a landlord. I gotta take care of my tenants. I gotta go fix stuff in the house. That's the traditional way of thinking, right? They don't know there's the whole private equity side. You can invest as a passive investor. They don't have any knowledge of that.
Hey, Carlos, Juliana, we're so happy to have you on the show today. So for our listeners, Carlos and Juliana are an investor couple. They are based out of New York in the United States. They do various things, including, they run a coaching program. They are involved in multifamily real estate. They have a small portfolio of cash flowing real estate assets that they own as well. So I'll let you guys do all of the talking and introduce yourselves and tell us more about you. But we're so grateful to have you on the show today and super excited to hear your story.
Thank you for having us. It's a pleasure to be here, especially see a couple in business. So it's great. So you want to start about?
Yeah, why don't you give us an intro about how your real estate journey and how you got started?
Well, thank you. First of all, thank you very much to you and to all your audience for giving us the most precious thing that we have on earth right now, which is time, right? There is nothing that we can do more. There is no other way to produce it. So our time is very priceless, and we are very thankful for that. We are immigrants from Colombia. We immigrated 20 years ago. We came as boyfriend and girlfriend. We got married, and we started our life together. We have been pretty much doing everything together since the beginning. Every industry that we have been through has been together, and this is not an exception. So we started in real estate. Pretty much 18 years ago.
Yeah, 2004.
2004. We started because of the book. I was reading a book. That came, it's unbelievable because this book has been mentioned by so many investors already. And it's gonna sound cliche, but it was because of
Reached out for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it too.
Yeah. I was gonna say it in Spanish, so I needed to translate it. So reached out for that by Mr. Robert Kiyosaki. That book came into my hands actually from Colombia. My stepdad, he sent it to me, and I was reading it while I was working in a Japanese restaurant, dressed with my kimono. I was the only Latina working in a Japanese restaurant, and on my break, I love to read. And I was reading, and that book definitely changed my point of view. My husband, I told my husband, we have to get into real estate. I will say, like Robert Kiyosaki will tell us, like, you guys didn't get it right because we started as realtors. And that he has mentioned it so many times. Like, I didn't write a book telling people to be realtors. I told them to be investors. But at the first glance, that's the way that I got it. And that's how we started. We started getting our licenses as real estate agents, right, my love?
Yeah, so I tell the story many times. I was forced. To be honest with you, I didn't want to do it. She signed up to the community college around our area that they just give the real estate classes. And she signed us up and she told me, we're going to start next week. And I was like, I really didn't want to do it. I was in my comfort zone. I was working in the restaurant industry. I was making decent money. So we started taking the classes. We got licensed, and then we got our first daughter. It was born in 2004. So Juliana was just taking care of our daughter for the first 2 years. I was just trying to learn the business part-time, like work in the restaurant and do part-time real estate. And then when she came back to the business, so I started getting into the mortgage industry because I find out that a lot of our clients at that time speak Spanish mainly. So they feel more comfortable just to learn everything about the mortgage process. So I was just doing the translation. So I was doing almost like two roles, the real estate and the mortgage part. So I said, you know what, it makes no sense for me to do both. Why don't you do real estate? I'll do the
I was the one who said that.
Yes. So then I ended up doing, I got forced that too. So we were doing that. Then we transitioned full time to real estate. And then the market crashed in 2009, and then we needed to pivot. So we went and joined a law firm that specialized in foreclosure defense, real estate attorney. And that was huge because then we got the back door, like the behind the scenes really good, in terms of all the legal aspect and the structure and everything. And at that point, we realized a lot of the clients that were making good money at that time were investors. I mean, they have multifamily properties. So I said, that might make sense for us to get into the investing part, not only real estate, license, but also as an active real estate agent.
Yes, and also very important, we listen to so many stories of people also losing their properties as the primary residence mostly, and the different way they started in real estate. So that actually brought so much knowledge for us, like moving forward and realizing that, when we start to invest, like everything makes sense. Like, wow, when you purchase your primary home, you only have that house and it has so many, like the sentimental value, and so many families were destroyed because of losing a house. They lost also their marriages, their families, unfortunately. And then we started to realize it was very different, and getting into the point of view of the investors, and a lot of the people that we were having discussions were also investing. So that's when the curiosity started to grow in us.
Yeah, so we started investing in small multifamilies. So our goal at that time was to just replace my income, because she already left the law firm 2015. So we were able to do that 2019, and then it became our passion to share a story and just touch people's life. And then while I was in the law firm, I did radio for like 10 years, the radio stations here in New York City. So I developed the love for the microphones, and just that's why we start our podcast and our platform. And
okay,
great. Yeah, and that sounds very nice, but it actually came out of desperation, because once that's what we call our financial freedom, when he was able to left his job and enjoy life without having to work. That sounds beautiful, but he was going crazy. He was going crazy, and he was driving us crazy as well, because he was used to be, he was used to that work schedule and being all the time busy and solving so many problems and being so active. So it was nice for the first couple of months, but then he was like, I was like, one day I told him over breakfast, okay, so what do you want to do now? What would you like to do? Like, what would be something like communicate? I really miss the radio. I really miss to talk. I really miss to talk. So, okay, so let's do that. What would you want? I want to do a podcast. And I was like, what is that? So he started just playing a podcast is like this and that. That's like, okay, let's do that. Like, whatever you want to do, but do something that make you happy. And this definitely makes him happy. God put that in your heart to communicate, to share, to educate, and that podcast, starting with a podcast, a lot of things develop from that.
For sure. No, we can totally relate with the same, very similar story. We started off as a couple investing. I was buying foreclosure properties in Rochester, New York. Because at that time I didn't have a lot of money, so we were dating, and we would drive together.
Yeah, that was our dates, right? Yeah. So pick up coffee, take a 4-hour drive, look at some ugly houses. Yeah. We were very young too, but I mean, I think there's a lot to be said for that, right? When you do it together from the very beginning, it's like, you built it together, which is so cool. And I think that, it brings about such a sense of connection between you as partners, as well as husband and wife.
And your visions are aligned, right? So you have that similar purpose, and because you're working towards the same goal, right? So tell me a little bit about what kind of strategies you use to, and how long did it take you to replace your W-2 income job?
Sure. So we were listening to Bigger Pockets for a long time. So that was one of our ideas also to get the podcast, because we want to replicate what they were doing. So at that time they were talking about like buy and hold and the BRRRR strategy. You buy the properties, do some rehab or cosmetic work, and then refinance. And that's what pretty much what we did. We started investing somewhere around like 2015. And then I was able to leave my W-2 like in 2019, so like 4 years. But the funny stuff was that we were not. I mean, it wasn't like a rush that we wanted to get out of it. It happens, We start just buying it, and we bought properties in pre-foreclosure. So we do like a short sale negotiation, everything. It has a team that does that. So yeah, it took us 4 years, but maybe we would be able to do it in less. But it happens like organic, and then at the same time, like like just me leave the comfort zone, because I think we are like educated with a mindset, and my mindset was to be a good employee, and I think I was a really good employee. And sometimes sometimes it comes back, the fact to have like something steady. So, but at one point we decided, it was time, and that's why we took it like 4 years.
Yes, and it was more than us. There were certain health issues that Carlos have to battle with that sort of, helped him realize that, the life is very precious, and he has a purpose he has a mission and a purpose in life. And definitely we can say that, God provided this opportunity of life, like for him twice.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't mention that. I'm used to mention all the time, but yes. So I had cancer in 2012, and then I was diagnosed with something called AVM, which is malformation of the veins and the brain, and I went under like 12 brain surgeries. It's between 12, like 15, but it was like 12 like little surgeries, and from 2015 to 2018, pretty much. So all of that, I was working almost like 7 days a week, a lot of like in a stressful environment, a high paid employee with a lot of responsibilities. So that kind of like show us the like God could make different opportunities. So just to try to just slow down, enjoy my life, and try to do different things. So so that was the main purpose why we decided to leave the W2.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know that's a good story. I mean, it's just so evident when I talk to you guys that you guys have so much passion and so much love for what you do, and so much of a want to help other people. And I guess maybe it makes sense now that we hear more about your story. And adversity leads to different things for different people, right? But for those who embrace that adversity and basically take it to make something extremely positive out of it, so that's really wonderful.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously that must be a very scary experience that you went through.
And for your family.
Like so many different surgeries, as you mentioned. And the big plus point that you had was that you had your real estate that was growing at the same time, and that kind of must have given you some comfort to, hey, I have a second source of income, and I'm also building wealth at the same time. I'm not relying on me trading my time for money, right?
Well, it was the other way around. We needed to figure out a way to generate income, because at that time I tried to get like life insurance, but I already got like a couple of MRIs done for that.
So this was before you got into real estate before, or sorry, after this happened.
Yeah, pretty much at the same time, because in 2012 when he was diagnosed with cancer, so we were focused. We weren't thinking about life insurance. You start to think, when you're in your 20s and 30s, like you think you're too young and like you don't really need it. We're immigrants, so we're like, our parents, they never talk about life insurance. So this retirement, nothing like that. So we didn't see the value. We actually got through our company a policy, life insurance policy, but we didn't keep it after it, because it was like a throwing money on the garbage. Unfortunately, that was our thinking in around the time, until he got sick, and then you start to think, what happened if he doesn't make it? And what happened if he doesn't make it? We are screwed, because he's like, there is nothing at that moment. So once he was cancer free, then we started to look into all that and look into insurance and that. But by that time, that was not an option. So that's, we started to look for other options, thinking out of the box. What can we do? And then real estate investing came into into the play. And that's how we started to think into it. Then I decided to leave the company that we were working at and go back full time to real estate. We always held our licenses, but we weren't really active because we were working for the law office like full time, extra time, all the time. But we kept our licenses, for referrals or something, family, something personal. That was the good thing, that we never let it go. But I was thinking like, I really want to go back. My girls were growing up. They were spending too much time with the nannies. And it was like, I want to spend time with them and I want to have my flexibility, my freedom with time. But I told Carlos that I wanted to go back to real estate full time. So I went back, but I was just thinking about, selling real estate. Then he mentioned, why don't you work with, help us with the short sales. That's how I learned to do the short sales. And that was a really big thing too, because, learning to negotiate short sales and going into that part of the industry, that's when I started to meet a lot of investors that they were looking, to purchase those properties or help with that. So that's why I told Carlos, this is good. And he was listening to bigger packets like, oh, maybe we can do this. We're meeting people, real life people that are doing it. So this is an option, and that's how we decided to start to build it up. For him to leave the job, and at that moment it was like sort of a backup, like a life insurance plan. Then he got sick again, but this time was really serious. Like cancer, if we thought cancer was serious, nah. The AVM thing that he got was really serious, so serious that every specialist that we went, every neurologist was like, I'm sorry, I cannot touch you. That's what you have on your head is too big. It's very dangerous. Like, just enjoy your life. You have pretty much 10 more years. Just enjoy your life and enjoy it to the maximum. And we kept, praying, and we kept going to different doctors until one of them told us there is only 2 doctors in this world that will touch you. One is in Texas and the other one is in New York. So okay, so we're in New York. Let's find the one in New York. We were able to find him. He was able to meet us, and he took Carlos' case. And thank goodness, after 12,
just 12 treatments and the 15 surgeries.
Wow.
He was able to thank to God, able to heal you.
That's intense.
Yeah.
While he was in treatment, we started to really invest. Like more actively, but it was not like, and then when he got cured, that's when we say like, maybe it's time to leave the job because it's very stressful and, life is so beautiful and you are a gift, it's a miracle that you are still alive. So, so many
like getting
things
a second chance, right?
Exactly. Like a third, 4 or 5.
yeah. Not a second
chances because
chance.
Every surgery was like a miracle for him to be alive. They make us sign so many disclosures and so many things. Like every time he was under surgery, the surgeries were really long, 6 to 8 hours. So they were very delicate.
Wow.
Goodness.
That's
alive.
Yeah, I can't even imagine what that's like. So yeah, I know you guys.
I mean, I'm sure your whole family must be going through a lot of.
Yeah,
well, the girls were really little, so they, thank goodness, like we didn't make it look like a big deal, and God gave us so much strength. So our faith really kept us alive, and it was hard, but it was beautiful at the same time.
Of course, it's all about perspective, right? Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about your strategy. So you started buying single family or duplexes. What were you guys doing? You're buying short sales, renovating them. Talk to us a little bit about that and what kind of a portfolio you built. Because I just kind of want to talk about that and then maybe start to talk about why you guys made a transition into multifamily.
Sure. Yeah. So we realized that in order for us to get a good deal, although prices right then were a lot lower than now, was to go through a short sale, through the pre-foreclosure process. So we're able to negotiate good terms. And then Juliana started learning how to do it. She became a master. So we decided that our goal was generate cash flow. So we wanted to just buy properties for the long term. So we decided to start with like 3-family houses, 2-family houses, up to 4-family houses. And we realized in that as a class, the cash flow was what we wanted to be. We never wanted to buy like a single family house because we didn't want to depend for only one tenant. So for us, duplex, and especially in the area that we were looking at, which is New Jersey, was a lot of those kind of properties in that area. So we decided to start buying it, and then we did it 25% down. We did some like a cosmetic. We never done like a huge renovation because that's not our goal. It's not really necessary. Some people extend themselves to try to do like updates and everything to the property, and they don't get the return when they rent it. So we figured out what the market wanted, and we just pretty much gave to them. And then we just keep refinancing, and we were able to buy more properties that way. So we started 2015, and then our all total of doors at that time.
We were able to get until 16.
Yes.
Up to $16, and that was that was what we needed for. We were actually looking like, oh my god, we want to purchase the whole freaking New Jersey. No, we were just wanted enough properties to cover his salary for him to be to be free, and to cover whatever we needed, and that's pretty much what we got. Then he left, and the funny thing is, we were thinking like, we didn't really have such a big plan. It was like, it's just that to happen. But because of his W-2, he was very bankable. So that really helped us a lot. We were able to get them. We were able to get the properties. We were very blessed in a really good time, because 2016, 17, 18, the properties were really good prices. And then with really good terms, because he was bankable.
And also our goal at that time was not like a scale to have like a lot of doors, but we wanted to have this door like property that cash flow really well. So you heard bigger packets, like Brandon Turner used to say, if you get like $100, $200 cash flow after expenses, it was fine for him at that time, because he wanted to have like 50 doors. So it wasn't our goal. Our goal was to try like not as many doors. We just make sure that each door cash flow as much as we can. So that was our criteria when we bought the properties, and then we were able to get them super a great price. Although it took forever to negotiate, and then a lot of the property that we negotiated with ended up not closing. It was a lot of work, but that was the strategy that we used, and it worked really well for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then so from what you were doing to where you are now, are you still continuing that strategy, or now are you primarily just focused on the multifamily syndication model?
So like one of our modules in our like mastermind is we have to fall in love with the numbers more than with the properties. And then we realized with the market start going up, the numbers were not there anymore. So the cash flow wasn't at the criteria we wanted. And in some cases, property that we bought like in the low twos, they were selling in the high fives and even higher. So the numbers didn't make sense for us to continue buying properties at that time. So we decided to not keep investing in that strategy. To be honest with you, we were not thinking to keep increasing our portfolio, because we reached where we wanted to reach at that time, and we manage our own properties. And then we were like so focused in our platform and education, the podcast. And then the market went super high, and then one tenant left, and then we needed to do some like just fix the apartment, and we're gonna rent it. And at that time, the kind of cash flow that we wanted to have, we were not getting the amount of rent that we're looking for. And then so Juliana said, "Why don't we sell it?" I was like, what I learned in the podcast and listen to all those guys, that you never sell. You don't sell.
Yes.
You buy and you keep it forever. When you die and you give it to your son and your daughters and you keep it. So I said, why do we want to sell it? She said, because she said we might be able to get a good offer.
And it was this was a particular property. Just having consideration, it was that kind of property that, when we purchased it with the previous owner. Like he kept living there, so we never have to do anything. Like he paid the water, he paid all the bills. Like we just received a really good rent check from him and from the other tenant. There was a small tiny apartment. So when he left, wow, that his unit was really in bad condition. So we had to spend like $10,000 fixing it up. That for us is like scandalous. It's like, wow, that's a lot of money, like fixing it up. And then when we tried to rent it, we didn't. We still have to pay the water. Then the utility is only one bill, so it has to be divided. And it was like so complicated. And the market was such a great moment. Like, anything that you put will sell. So like, I think we can sell this like double the price like that we purchased it for. And we ended up getting much, much more than that. So it was like, let's try it out, because, it seems like it's a headache to get a tenant that is going to be able to, and we were spoiled already by there with that property. So it's like, it was going to become a headache for us. was like, let's try to see if we can sell it. And I say, let's put it for this price. And he was like, no, if we're gonna sell it, let's put it for this price. And then yeah, he was right.
Yeah. So we sold it, and at that time, we knew about 1031 exchange. We never done one before, and then we found information about it, and I was like, if we sell high, we're gonna buy high.
Yeah.
So
and we started looking for properties, and we couldn't find anything that makes sense.
And I was, you know what, I don't want to buy in a rush. I'm okay. I think we're making decent money, so I'm okay paying taxes. So we sold that, and I put the tax, whatever my tax money was supposed to pay at the end of the year, aside. And then through the podcast, I was interviewing, and I joined another mastermind, and I started talking to people. I went to a bigger package conference, and I started listening to people talking about like multifamily investing and cost segregation and bonus depreciation, all those things, how they use it. And I was like, this makes a lot of sense. And then I started just getting more guests that was talking about the same thing. And I was like, maybe we can do that. So that's how we started into multifamily as an LP because of the tax benefits. And then once we did it, and we did that first property, we figured out, this makes a lot more sense. The doing it the way around. So we just got immersed in that. So we saw a property.
We just fall in love. It's like, this is unbelievable. I was telling Carlos, how is it possible that we have been doing real estate for 18 years and this is the first time that we it was like, oh,
and it's not only us. I mean, a lot of people are going through that, and now that we're doing like different shows about it, so it makes sense. I mean, that used to be like just reserved only for people like accredited investors and people that have certain qualification for it. So for the average person like us, we might not be able to access to those deals before until we knew about them. So it was great. So we just started doing it as an LP. Then we jump in, and we wanted to do it as an active. So we joined Think Multifamily, and then the same mastermind that we are. And then we start getting more active. And then at the same time, something that I want to say really quick is that when we do our shows and our mentoring programs, a lot of people say, okay, so what are the opportunities to buy? What should I invest? And I was like, I can't tell them to go buy a whole property right now in this area because I mean the cash flow is not there. Sometimes you have to put money out of your pocket and just only like bet and appreciation, and that's not a good strategy. So now that we have the option to provide an opportunities about like large apartment investing, that's a huge thing for us because now we do have a product they can invest, especially if they want to do that as a passive investor. And in this economic environment, so that's why we fell in love with the partners.
Yeah,
that's crazy that you're mentioning all of this.
That really excites us. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, this is very much exactly our journey too.
I think a lot of people who are in multifamily,
we started off with single families, and we did duplexes, fourplexes. We did smaller apartment buildings, and then we were only tunnel vision into our specific area, right? Because that's
how you become, right?
We were comfortable here,
and the prices made sense back then. Above everything, right? It made sense when we were all doing it. Like we were buying cash flowing assets, right? But then as things started to change, it's like you're forcing the deals now. It's like, I'm just buying this because I need to buy, because I need to feel like I'm continuously doing something. So let's buy something else. But in your logic brain, the numbers don't make any sense.
Yeah.
And for us too, like for so long, it's so great that you guys are talking about like how you want to help people, because I think a lot of investors, we all get to a point where that's now the next thing, right? Like, how can we spread the word? How can we help other people or everyday people, just like how we are, get involved in real estate, right? And so, but just like you, we never had a product to offer because we weren't able to bring partners onto the deals that we had here because it doesn't make any sense, right? Like,
yeah, because our market was we have rent control,
prices are very high,
not landlord friendly. The prices are way higher than it makes sense to actually cash flow. Even now, even as a duplex, triplex, like the cash flow is getting tighter and tighter, so it's a very similar story, and that's the reason why I personally started looking into multifamily, and I said, you know what, our market does not make sense. We got to look for another market.
True.
And that's huge because not that many people that transition, because we are just to the comfort zone, and all of us wanted to invest in our backyard. And we heard so many advice about different people that said, don't invest in property that more than like 1 or 2 hours away, because you have to go there, you have to be there. But then you realize that that's not true. I mean, you can just have the boots on the ground, the whole team and everything, and just try to invest in the other side of the country, and it works. So once we just get out of our comfort zone, and we find out like, yeah, yes, it is possible. And then we saw people in the industry, they're doing it for a long time, and they're we follow the steps. I mean, we have to reinvent the wheel all the time. So that's why it makes a lot of sense for couples like us to do it.
Yeah. Yes, and what we were mentioning before, and just having the opportunity to share these opportunities with other people, and I don't know, I don't want to sound like, oh, poor us, poor immigrants. No, but as immigrants that we are, and as our community, the community that we're trying to serve and open doors to this Latino community, they have no idea. Like, it has been hard because we like I'm talking about myself. He got it more than I. Like, I still don't get that many things, but it's like in my guts. It's something in me that is telling me this is good. And that desire to share the opportunities with everybody else. And we are educating the people, which is not easy, especially our community. Like, they don't get it. It's like we're talking, not when we're trying to explain the projects to them. It's not even so we're explaining them in Spanish. It's like we're talking in like another language, third language.
and I think I'm sorry, it's a mindset. So I had someone that got one of my mentoring programs, and he said he's a builder. I mean, he fixed properties and everything, and he had a large amount of money available to invest. So we ran the numbers, and we presented to an opportunity with the tax benefits and everything that he was going to get. And he was going to almost get the same amount of money in a passive way, whenever he was making active. And he said at the end of the day, Carlos, so what I'm planning to do, what should I do? So if I get the same amount of money, is that you enjoy life. I said, well, I'm so used to working 7 days a week. And his main goal in the beginning of our conversation, which is free time, I said, this is the way for you to free time. He kind of felt guilty. So you're telling me I don't have to work 7 days a week to make money? I said, not really. So you can just invest in it as a passive investor. But it was hard for him to get it. And like, that's a lot of people that you're used to that. And they say, I have to just work hard and just hours.
And that's a very good point, because when, traditionally, when you talk to somebody, hey, invest in real estate, the only way they think is, hey, I gotta go myself, go buy a property, be a landlord. I gotta take care of my tenants. I gotta go fix stuff in the house. That's the traditional way of thinking, right? They don't know there's the whole private equity side. You can invest as a passive investor. They don't have any knowledge of that. They think the only way to do it is the active way. And you actually,
to educate them.
So
much.
So tell me a little bit about the Hablemos de Real Estate, and how you started that. You're educating the Latino community,
and your mastermind. Talk to us about that too.
Sure. So our goal initially was, based on Juliana, was for me having something to do.
Yes.
But for me it was
and he was over so many people. Oh, that's a very nice hobby.
Yeah. Oh, like, this is not a hobby. I want to do so.
This is my mission.
Yeah. So because I was listening to Bigger Pockets for a long time, I wanted to, like, if you want to learn about real estate in English, you have a lot of tools, a lot of resources,
right.
such as this podcast. But if you want to do it in Spanish, there are some tools, but not that many. And with the same quality. So I wanted to be able to have a platform where I can just share my experience and our knowledge, our experience, and also our guest experience. So pretty much like Bigger Pockets, they brought all the different people. So we just started initially for our local friends and friends in the industry, attorneys, real estate investors. And then something happened.
Something interesting before you continue, my love, is that he's telling the truth. Like, Winston, he's saying, because all this started with him. Like, Hablemos de Real Estate was his baby, his project. And like, my daughters and I, we help him with the name, we support him in anything that he needed. But he was the one, like, it was Hablemos de Real Estate with Carlos Amaya. Then then he said, once I started to interview people, professionals, he make it a list of all the people. He has so many wonderful people that he knew. But you're going to be the first one. He told me, you're going to be my first one to be interviewed. Like, okay, of course, I was supporting him 100%, as any good wife will do. So then, but I was zero interested in being in the camera or talking because, by nature, I'm more quiet and introvert. I didn't used to love the microphones and the cameras as much as I do now. At the beginning, it was like, okay, I'll do it for you. And because it was him, like we were talking like it's okay. I got a little bit nervous, but it was good. Then he was, oh, you did it so good. And then everybody was like, oh, that was beautiful, very nice. You look so good together, whatever. And then COVID hit. And then when COVID hit, he was like, we have to do weekly show. I want to do weekly shows. Why don't you do it with me? And it was like, I'm not doing anything else. Let's do it. So that's how Hablemos de Real Estate show started because, probably we didn't have anything. There was nothing to do. And
the pandemic, yeah.
Exactly. The pandemic was here and it was an amazing thing. Well, some days were amazing. Some other days were, but most of the time was really, really fun.
Yeah, so we start like with guests, and it's super funny because people used to come here to our home studio, and then Juliana used to do like the words and everything. It was the whole night yards, and the guest was super like impressed because then she gave it like a goodie bag and like a super the whole PR, and then
he was happy that he was happy and he was doing something that he loved. He was really passionate about.
So I was having a blast doing the show, and then the guests were like our friends. And they're just people that we know in the industry. I was like super impressed. Oh, this is super nice. You guys done a show and then you could do all of this. So I tried to do like an online interview, like one time before the pandemic, and it didn't go well. Zoom was available, but not the way it is right now. Even the platform improved a lot. So then when the pandemic hits, we started doing the live shows. But then we realized, listen, I want to keep bringing guests again, but I don't want to bring only limited guests that are around the area. So I started interviewing people all around the country, and that was a game changer because I was able to get so many different kind of guests, and it's been great. Like we really blessed on and the quality of guests that we bring to our show. But at that time, we realized people started like just reaching out with questions. How can I do this? How can I do that?
Did you have like a class? Did you guys teach how to invest? So it started to come naturally. Our audience were asking us, and that was not the original idea. So
and then I was doing like 45 minutes for free, just talking to someone and then we just giving them free advice. And then she said, why don't you do like something like a mentoring program and everything? I said, like, really? So we came out with the mentoring program, which is 6 sessions, and then it went really well, and then people really love it. And then we joined different masterminds in English as well. And I said, you know what, we want to do this in Spanish, and that's why we created La Tribu de Millonarios, which is a tribe for millionaires in English. And then we just be able to implement a lot of things that we're learning in different masterminds to our community. So it became really good, and it has been great, and it has been opening a lot of doors. Like the question they always get is like, did you make any money out of the podcast? And I was like, yes, you can monetize it, but our goal is to provide information. But we've been making so much connections, like just getting into multifamily was because of the podcast, just getting to know you guys because of the podcast. I'll be able to have Brandon Turner, and like he's gonna be as a guest in our podcast in October. 20th because of the podcast. So it's been open so many doors. It wasn't meant to be at the beginning. In the beginning, we just to get information, but at the same time, it has been a huge tool of like credibility because people that speak Spanish and when now we start doing some shows in English and Spanish, that when they talk to us, they already they know about us. They've been listening to our shows. They see our videos. So it's been great.
Yes, and now we're starting to see our community. Evolving and knowing, helping our small investors grow their portfolio, their finances, figuring out ways. Like our tribes meetings every Wednesdays are amazing because we have tribe members from different states. Actually, we have some from out of state. So they all have different strategies. Some of them do Airbnb, some of them do wholesaling, fix and flip, buy and hold, and house hacking. So it's so wonderful to see them grow. And our tribe is young. We have been we just formed it a couple of months ago, like April, exactly 4 months ago. 5 months ago.
We're gonna get you some tribe members from Canada.
Yeah, but
for sure. No, because we have a big Latin community here as well. Yeah.
It helps so much. Like, because sometimes when you're doing it by yourself, as an investor, you try to be very isolated, and there are the RIA meetings and all that, which really is really good as well. But this is more accountability, more vulnerability, because we bring experts from different areas, not only real estate. There is a lot of issues with our mentality. You know, as an investor, we have to have the right mentality to be able to continue to grow or accomplish different goals. And it's not only about real estate. We have 4 pillars, which is basically relationships, the relationship with yourself, with God, with our families. And we also have finances, of course, where we talk about real estate most of the time. We also have the other 2 pillars, which are
community, and then we also the give back, because we want to give back to the community. It's something that I want to say really quick, because I know we talk a lot. That when we do like an entrepreneurial or project or real estate investment, you have the syndrome of the lone wolf, when you're there being by yourself a lot, and you feel like you don't belong to the group sometimes, to your family or your the people, your neighbors. So that's why the mastermind is working really well, because being able to connect with people like yourself that are in different 100%. Parts of the country. Yeah. And then you feel like, okay, these people think like me, they act like me. And when I have a problem, they might be able to help me. Or when they have a problem, I might be able to guide them. So it's been a bless.
It's nice. It's like we're a different species.
Yeah.
You're making a difference. You're giving back to and you're educating your audience. And ultimately, that's what life is about. It's about sharing what you have. You're
there's so much abundance, right?
Like you love what you're doing at the same time,
absolutely.
So it's helping people. Ultimately, that's what it's all about.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome, guys. So as we kind of come to a wrap here, we like to ask our guests, maybe you guys can each tell us, is there sort of a quote or a saying that you live by or impacts you in your life or your business that you'd be willing to share with our guests?
Sure. Definitely. Maybe you go first. I know which one is yours.
Mine is I use it for everything in life. Is I can do all things through Christ who strengthens. That's mine. That's my mantra.
Yeah. And mine, I have many, but like I like to read a lot of books. So I would say that the one that I'm using right now is Who Know How. It's a book that I recommend. So you're just trying to figure out, so who's going to do the things instead of how. It doesn't work all the time. I have to implement it even more. But yes, so I think it evolves. But right now, I'm in the Who Know How stage.
100%. Yeah. No, I love Dan Sullivan. A lot of his books are great. Yeah. He's also from Toronto.
Yeah.
They're really good writers.
Yeah, I have the Gap in the Gain sign here.
The Gap in the Gain one was my favorite.
Yeah, with our picture and everything. So it says
that one really helped.
Yeah, it said measure your wins, only measure backwards. So I know he has another book, and then one of the guys, the mastermind that I belong to, it seems like he's kind of close with him. So I'm trying to just figure out maybe bring him.
And you the other thing is you're going all like full circle with Brandon Turner. You like he was, you mentioned he was a big influence on you for you
guys. Yeah.
For you guys. And now he's gonna be on your show, like. And I love Brandon Turner as well. Like he's such a great guy and
inspirational to so many people for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So cool how that works, right?
Yes. It's pretty amazing. That's definitely a gift from God.
Yeah, absolutely. So if people want to reach you guys, we'll put it in our show notes as well. What's the best way for people to get in touch?
Sure. It's super easy. If they Google Hablemos de Real Estate or our names like Carlos Amaya
and Juliana Estrada.
Yeah, so they can use Google. We have our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, Instagram, the same. So Hablemos de Real Estate is the easiest way. Or like our personal names. Use Google it, you find.
Perfect. Yeah.
And Hablemos, meaning let's talk about real estate. So
in
Spanish, Hablemos de Real Estate.
Okay, great.
Amazing.
We'll make sure we add it in. So yeah, thank you guys
Thanks
again for your
the
time, for your honesty, your vulnerability, and just it's wonderful to see that your purpose is now to help people. It's so great, and it's a common thread with so many entrepreneurs we meet, right? Like at some point, it becomes about so much more than yourself, and it's always wonderful to see that there's so much abundance. It's just it's about continuing to give.
That is true. That is true. Thank you so much, Jose Kadiha. I love your name. It's so beautiful. Thank you so much for the invitation, and big hugs to all of you.
Yeah, thank you very much to you and your audience, and we have so much fun, and I will look forward to do it again.
It's nice to remember.
Yeah,
absolutely. Thanks, guys.